Okay, I'm still alive. Veto number 6. The reason why I said that she is motivated by and to think about money is the money is her value. Money is her worth. Money. Some people are own money, and some people are owned by money, and she is owned by money. Her first husband, let's just say, I think his parents were teachers. Let's say they had plenty of time Saturdays and Sundays to spend money on this guy. I think also that who might have spent money on him. Let's just say I'm assuming this. Assumed facts aren't facts, but I'm just making an assumption that other women spent money on him. So he used to have maybe an older sister or two older sisters or so spent money on him. So I can see that happening because when her relationship with him was that, her father had a stroke, and then she sold his house instead of keeping his house there, which is his home. It could help out, which could help out his memory to regain his memory, like the syntax is bringing together more more so because of all the memories in the house slash verb home. She sold it because I guess she wanted to make money to impress her boyfriend or her husband at who knows at the time. Entered into real estate, and it's really sad. Her dad was saying stuff like he just wanted to die. He just wanted to die. I felt the same way when she sold me out too. I just wanted to die. But anyway, he gets money. She buys him all these things, and so I say when I said he has like maybe perhaps sisters that bought him things because she's a woman and he expects or he sees it like women to buy him all these things and buy things, and as a thing, and they get married, and then she buys him all these things for Christmas, and they're at a big party, and his parents are there, and now let's open your presents that you got me. Whoops. He didn't get her anything. He didn't get her anything for Christmas. She got him all these things. She buys him all these things, and he's married to her. He didn't get her anything. That's kind of evil. That's like, wow. He didn't even think to get her anything. Not only did he not get her anything, but it's Christmas. Even if they weren't married, normally you get somebody something. If not, okay, maybe you're a different religion or whatever. Okay, but um, you don't have to be in the same religion to celebrate a certain tradition, and that he wouldn't know about it or didn't know about the tradition, or it was kind of really weird. Um, but she gets divorced with this guy, but she still has him around. She does a business with him, and man, so I didn't know this, but I was asking her one time, "Is it over with you?" And she said yes. But I didn't know that she still had a business with him. She's still doing business with him, and I'm like, holy cow. And then she went back to him, I think, and they're going to get married again. But she told me, says it was over, it's over. And then she goes back to him. So she's like crisscrossing her words, or she's like going back. She's doing one thing, and then she says one thing, and then she does another thing. That's very extreme, very extreme. Like I do that too, but I try to be mindful of people and their decision, and don't try to include them, or try to if I try to include don't not include them if it has to do with just me, and I if I'm involved with some things with people, I try to be mindful that hey, if I'm making a decision, making a choice, just be mindful that other people are involved, and but she seemed to make choices that with disregard to other people's choices that had trusted her and had tried to make sure it was okay or if it was safe before they made a choice with her, and then they enter into an agreement or their person's choice, and then she decides to sometimes you can say this she decided to you can say thinking positive to give her a chance to change. At that time, she decided to not honor the choice that she made with me. I would say, is this safe? And then it's not safe. As we're seeing eye to eye and using common sense, all of a sudden that was was devoid. The common sense and seeing eye to eye didn't exist, and also being safe didn't exist. She's gonna go ahead and treat me like an object, and it's extremely harmful for me. Yet she has to make money, so she's not gonna do what's right. She's gonna make money, and it's gonna be at my expense because she gets to make a choice. Okay, hey, you know what? Don't involve me, but she did involve me. So I'm really upset about her, and it's a horrible choice that she made. Her job is two words: worthless. You put something that's loving, and put something that's special, and put the emotional bond and before money, over money. You don't put money over someone's life, her life or my life. But she's doing it to herself too. She can't do it unless she's doing it to me, unless she says that her life is worth money is worth more than her life. Unless she's doing it to herself. Unless she can't treat me like an object unless she says that that's all right, without her being treated like an object too. So it's right for her as well. So, but I wish she wouldn't. So, she sees money as her value, as to what her value is. I guess because of this guy, and then she goes to get help as from therapist, and they treat her as an object. Okay, so how I see it, as that's how I determine that's how she got that way. If she had to just treat me and help me out for the emotional bond, for friendship, not for money, but for love and concern out of another individual to help them out, everything would fall into place. Everything would be fine. She would still help me. She would still be she'd still be a therapist and giving therapy. We would still have each other and do it for each other, and she could still make money. There's still businesses that she can do where she can make even more money than what she's doing. I'm involved in things that are going to make way much more money than what she's doing. I have many inventions, and etc. that actually have one is in the patent stage right now, and others have been in patent searches, and I am highly affiliated with and geared towards making a lot of money. I can't promise any of that, but it's what normally takes place when you're involved in the things that I'm involved in right now, which I'm not going to divulge too much. I'm trying to be concise. Trying to be concise with my explicatives that have to do with these videos of mental health. So I see, because my armpit itches, I see her value. I love her for who she is, not her money. I'm mindful of money. I am. I fancy it as a thing. But just, guys, please put friendships and emotional bonds and loved ones over money. Don't put money over them. You're lacking foundation when you do that. There's this one story. This is a beautiful story that she loves, that she liked. I guess, yeah, she loves it. You could say that. I love it too. Hope there's enough time. I'm going to tell you a story. This is a really good story about wholeness, about perversion from being whole, about sin, about values, about it has to do with money. It has to do with what the world or worldliness may teach us, Satan may teach us as his value, versus what God teaches us as a value. And it has to do with families. It has to do with a little girl, and it's a story about a little girl and her father, and a little girl who has fake pearls. She carries around the fake pearls, and she guards them as if they are her value. Maybe someone tried to explain what pearls were, and she took it as that if you have pearls, and you're the owner of the pearls, that is your value. And pearls could be determined as to be a high value. So since you have them, you're the possessor of them, then your value is high. So they're fake. Actually, they're like maybe worth a quarter or $1 or $2. Who knows? But she carries them around where she goes. She goes to the movies. She goes to the park. She goes bowling. She carries around with them and protects them really good. She keeps them by her bedside. She sleeps with them by her pillow. Her dad notices her vigilance, and he notices that they're fake. And so when they're saying prayers one night, they're saying prayers, and they're by their bedside, and he's saying prayers with her. And then she goes into the bed, and he pulls the cover over her body, and then he sits on her bed, and he says to her, "Do you love me?" He says, "Yeah, I love you, Dad." She says, "Do you trust me?" He says, "Yeah, I trust you." And then he says to her, "Give me your pearls." Well, she doesn't give him her pearls, and she's very upset. And she says, "Oh, no, I'm going to give you my pearls, but I love you and I trust you." And then they repeat this process. It goes on. She takes them and she guards them really well. She takes really good care of them. They go to places. And then the same thing, day after day, they repeat this. "Do you love me? Do you trust me?" "Yes, yes." "No, I'm not going to give you my pearls." But one day, she starts crying. And she just looks away. And, "I love you and I trust you." And then she hands him her pearls. And then he has behind his back all those times he has real pearls. And he gives her real pearls. He says, "These are real. You had fake ones. These are real pearls. And I just wanted to give you these. And who better to trust to take care of pearls than you?" And so some people may see that the pearls are the value. They might not notice or recognize that no, they aren't. That's not what she got. That wasn't the highest value. They're both worthless. They're two words, worthless. She rejected the Father, and she rejected herself. She put pearls ahead of her life and above her father's life. Even though he's trustworthy, and even though he loves her, she put the pearls over his life and over his love and over his trust and over him and their connection and over herself. And the real thing that's worth the most, the value, is that now she owns her father. She owns him forever, and she owns everything that he has, and he owns her, and he owns her forever, and he owns everything that she has. She gets the pearls, the real pearls, but what else does she have? Well, if she owns the Father, she gets the fake pearls too. She gets everything. That has to do with truth and wholeness. He owns her, and she finds herself, and she finds her Father, and those are things that people make pearls. People make money. It's not the other way around. Those things, the people come first. And some people may say she sacrificed the pearls. No, she still gets her pearls. She still has her fake pearls. What she really sacrificed was her lower value, lower value of self. The message is about us and our Heavenly Father, a relationship of people who are sinning. They're doing something that's partially true, partially perfect. It's partially whole, but it's not totally whole. It's a perversion from being true and perfect and whole. There's the truth element of it, is where people can receive a joy for a season, a fleeting happiness, versus a fullness of happiness and a perfect joy. When people rob a bank, they commit a sin, and they're doing something they get money, they get a joy for the season, they get a fleeting happiness, but they get a happiness. And that's associated with the part truth of what they're doing. It's not whole. They get the rewards of the truth, the partial truth, the half truth of what they're doing. But then they can come crashing down. They can get arrested. They have to give up their money. They lose it all. They get sent to prison. And then, so that could be the other downside of it. So it's like a sin. If you, they could still have the person who's bank robber. They don't have to rob a bank. They can still have money. They can still maybe even get more money than they stole. Um, but they, but when people sin and do something that's not whole, do something perverted from whole, then they don't get the fullness of joy. They don't get the perfect happiness. And what she got was, you see an example of her getting everything: her father, herself, the real pearls, and the fake pearls. That's what you see when you see wholeness of truth. You get all these things, versus something that's partial. Well, you get partial things, and so God is telling us that He wants us to be one with Him. He wants us to not sacrifice our things, but sacrifice our lower values. Because what does God have? God has everything, and we win the prize. We win everything, and we win God. We win ourselves. We find ourselves. We win ourselves. We do something that's whole. Everything that has to do with truth and wholeness. If somebody's not doing something or following along something that's true, that's not whole in their life, that's perverted from it, it's that area and an aspect of their life where they don't have a perfect happiness either. They have a partial happiness to the partial truth that they're following after. They get those rewards, but they're not whole in that aspect of their life. They may learn to do it, and once they learn to do it, as perhaps they've done in other aspects of their life, to be whole, to be true, then they get that sound, perfect wholeness, and they get that well-being of that part of their life, and that that part of their life in their life. And you can learn wholeness and truth, and as they go on and live their life, to put wholeness and truth and find truth, and live a life of wholeness and truth, growing stronger and stronger, and getting the highest, living the highest potential, finding who they are, and living the fullness of life. And that's the message of the pearls. Did you think that the value or the special thing was the real pearls? Or did you think that the special thing was that she found her dad and she found herself? It depends on how you see value. The woman that I'm talking about, she puts her fake pearls. She puts her confidence and she sees the fake pearls as her worth and her value. That's where she's lost. You could say, I use the word perverted, not in a sexual perversion way, as it may be implied at certain times, but she's dissuaged from being whole and having that wholeness, and that's not mental health, and it's not mental health for me. But with me, she gets everything. Very similar story to that is Charlie. I'm going over time. Is Charlie and Chocolate Factory? Who's the richest kid of all of them? When they go coursing through the whole thing, at the very end, and well, in the beginning, Charlie has a very lowly status or poor status according to the world, where his house is, there's rain coming through his house. There's only 2 beds for like 6 people, and who knows where his parents are. I forget that part of the story. But he's very poor externally. But when he courses through the factory, part of the beginning of the story is that he could get a secret. He could sell a secret to this guy, and then it could make him rich. It could be very wealthy. But at the very end, he has this thing that he could sell to that person, but actually, rather, he turns it into Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka is very impressed with him, and because he did so, like the father, Charlie owns Willy Wonka forever, and Willy Wonka owns Charlie, and they're as one. He gets the factory. He finds him. He stays. He found himself already. He knows that what's the higher value, and he gets the factory. He gets that candy. Who has the candy? He gets that. That's another sign of wholeness and truth. He gets everything, and also, who is the richest kid? Charlie's rich inside. Those other kids, were rich externally. Charlie had wealth untold, internally. So depends on how you see value. to me, I see value as he is the richest kid. He is the richest of them all because they have to still find and develop their internal value. They have yet to do that. Charlie has that, and then he has all these other things too. Now he's whole and true. The person I'm talking about, she isn't whole. She isn't true. She's lost. She's impressed with that story about the pearls, but impressive as a just to be a hearer, but not a doer. If she was to treat me like an individual and treat me and love me for the emotional bond and as a friend, and not put money over my life and put money over her life, then she would find herself, and then she would have wholeness, and then she would have better standing in the mental health area. Until then, she's treating somebody as an object and as a science experiment, and putting money over my life and as a higher than my life, and put money as a value over her life and higher than her life. She could have something so beautiful, but she does that instead. So she's like, so that's why to me, she has something that's worth 2 words, worth less, and something that's very harmful. And to me, that she's lost with this group as they do those things as well. They don't have to do them. They don't have to be in this group. They can learn my words and consider them wise, and say that's why you shouldn't. That's why they have these ethics, because our company is treating people like objects. That's what the ethics are for. It's for the protection of the business, not for the person. If you do it out of, like I said, do it for the emotional bond, do it for friendship, you don't need any of these ethics at all at any time. Their company is really harmful, and they're really screwy as they continue to treat people as objects. Now I'm going to do another video. It'll be considered video number 7 or 8. We could be on 7 or 8. I really lost count. I really don't know. So I'm going to end this video because it's been like 22 minutes. I went over time, but I had to do it for that story. So just be patient with me. And another video, I'm gonna explain how people can really get so much joy and so much balance in their minds, and so much real, true, natural, and very happy mental health. Hold on before I stop. Just wanted to burp. Okay.